it was such a rude awakening to just how discriminatory the entire market is, just how inefficient it was. And, as I started learning more about, crypto, blockchain, everything, you realized, wait a minute, this is the answer to all of this stuff. So I guess I jokingly said, I got myself in a little trouble. I jokingly said the first time I was asked this sort of question was like, I realized I was just at the top of the pyramid scheme. I didn't realize that. I realized that the entire, financial system and the entire banking world was really one big Ponzi scheme.
Not necessarily a rabbit hole, but just show you guys more physical proof that it's not just XRPL talking about this. It's not just Soy. It's not just Flare. It's literally every protocol and digital asset that you most likely know and hold. They're all going to participate in this ecosystem to some degree, and DeFi is a big role in that. So this is a good transition because Aqua had mentioned a second ago, this gentleman, John Woods, who was the CTO of the Algo Foundation, stepped down from his position after 3 years. And me and Aqua were just kind of speculating on why this happened because there was some FUD around Algo, how there normally is. And people were like, oh my God, the CTO stepping down, Algo, it's going to fail. No, heck no. That is the farthest thing from the truth. And I want to kind of debunk that and show you guys how they are also participating in DeFi. But Aqua, you were smiling. What did you have to throw on top of that?
No, I'm just remembering our conversation. Like, I firmly agree that he's most likely under an NDA and he can't really say what his next move is. You know what I mean? So this just doesn't mean I hate seeing FUD. I mean, I like it, I guess, when the price goes to a discount, but the FUD's really got to stop because, let's face it, the Algorand is some of the best tech in the game, period.
Yeah. And two, to go back to what that lady from August said, the institutional provider for DeFi primitives, staking, trading, derivatives, so on and so forth. She said that all the people from the banks are leaving to go and start their own DeFi, primitives, their own DeFi solutions. And then John Woods at the bottom of this post, he said, I look forward to sharing with you soon what I'll work on next. So he's most likely, like Aqua said, he was under NDA. And he couldn't start his own business venture. And he probably had an issue with that because he saw an opportunity. Maybe he knows people and he wants to build his own thing. And he couldn't do that as the CTO of another foundation. So he had to leave. There's nothing bad about this whatsoever. And then this was shared in our research chat. This is where we're going to go down the rabbit hole. I'm going to show you that, Algo's taking necessary steps to be a big regulated player in this DeFi niche category of crypto. Okay. So this is from the Algo Foundation. They posted this 3 days ago, and it says, we are thrilled to welcome Jenny Levine as the new Chief Legal and Operations Officer at the Algo Foundation. So Jenny Levine, Jenny Levine, hopefully I'm pronouncing her name correctly, brings top-tier regulatory expertise, extensive U.S. policy experience, and strong connections in Washington, D.C. And we already know about all the connections that if you go back and watch part 1, part 2 of this video breakdown, this live, and you'll see that at the beginning, what we were talking about the Bank of International Settlements, mentioning Ripple, XLM, XDC, XRP, Gematria, and how that kind of all firmed into place with Alice's journey and whatnot. So this is crazy. This is not by mistake. And so if we come over here, who is this lady? Let's get into her background and what she brings to the space. Algo posted this May 13, 2025, welcoming Jenny Levine as the Chief and Legal Operations Officer, strengthening our commitment to decentralization and regulatory clarity. Jenny's most recent role as Chief Regulatory and Strategy Officer at Figment, what the heck is Figment? It's one of the leading staking infrastructure companies, positioning her perfectly to support our continuing effort to decentralizing the network through staking rewards and the up-and-coming launch of peer-to-peer networking. So this lady comes from an organization that provides staking solutions in a regulated manner to financial institutions right now in the moment. So it says here, Figment. And if we go over to her LinkedIn profile, keep in mind, she just joined the Algo Foundation as the Chief Legal Officer. About Jenny. As a former federal prosecutor with extensive trial experience, as well as significant experience in blockchain, crypto, and NFTs, what did Aqua say about NFTs? I bridged the two worlds by analyzing the regulatory and legal issues facing the blockchain and crypto industry. My prior law enforcement experience allows me to view the relevant legal issues from the perspective of the SEC, the DOJ, and other law enforcement agencies. My in-house experience allows me to balance these legal and regulatory risks. This is huge. And again, she used to work at this organization, Figment. Look at this. Figment, here's their LinkedIn profile, and it says, we provide the most comprehensive staking solutions for over 500 institutional clients, including asset managers, exchanges, wallets, foundations, custodians, and large token holders to earn rewards on their digital assets. So this is physical proof, ladies and gentlemen, that there are over 500 institutional clients right now in some way, shape, or form participating in DeFi, because that is what this organization does. That is exactly where this lady stemmed from and has now joined the Algo Foundation. This is physical proof that to some extent, Algo is also in the process, like all of these other protocols, to integrate DeFi and incorporate it into the traditional financial system. This is huge news. And this is not going to have any immediate effect on price action, but this shows you that there are necessary steps being implemented right now in order for United States-based institutions or organizations like the Algo Foundation to finally whittle their way into the new financial system. This is crazy, right? So I'll let you speak on that, Aqua. We'll pause right there. But that was a solid little rabbit hole that I went down the other day in the research chat.
Yeah, no, this is massive, bro. This is super massive. You know, there's have you heard of the gentleman by the name of Raoul Paul or Raoul Pal? I may not be pronouncing his name correctly. He is the go ahead.
I was just saying, yeah, I know who he is.
Okay, cool. I came across because we were just, you know, highlighting NFTs again. And can I share this little snippet of him talking about NFTs? It's kind of fire. Unless you got somewhere else we're going to go right now too. That's totally fine as well. It's like a 2-minute snippet. Yeah, okay,
run it.
Cool. Okay, hold on one second. Let me just...
Or out of traditional markets buying NFTs. So famously, people like Alan Howard, who's the big hedge fund manager, built a huge NFT collection. And there's a bunch of other people who are kind of anonymous in the space who are building huge art collections. And why that is simply crypto is culture. There's no finance conference that gets 15, 20,000 people going in.
Yeah.
It's crypto, right?
True.
It's our lives. We all live this. We see each other all day on the internet. We talk to each other.
Yeah.
You know, we're all part of each other's life. It's culture. And what a lot of NFTs are, people like Xcopy and Beeple, is the culture of the internet. And the culture of the internet, if we're really going to make some money out of this, will be really valuable to us. Like Warhol was valuable to the baby boomers because that was the 1970s. That was Studio 54. That was Bob Dylan going into the studio. The Rolling Stones hanging out with Warhol. That was David Bowie. That was all of that was happening.
Yeah.
Warhol is valuable because it's a cultural marker of time. So the cultural markers of time are people like Beeple and Xcopy who comment on all this, and they're the OGs. And then the other part of the equation from the macro view is we're going from 3 trillion to 100 trillion. You're going to make $97 trillion of wealth.
Mm-hmm.
Upstream of all investments is art. It always is. Every billionaire has 10 times the value of art in their houses than the value of their houses. Because really, in the end, they buy 5 houses.
Yeah.
But they've still got lots of money, and so they want a store of value. And art is a store of value that you can appreciate, that's semi-liquid, transferable, and you can show off. And rich people like to show off. And so socially status signal.
Yeah.
So NFTs are still early phase, where it's a real concentration of a small number of artists who are leading the price, but there's a whole bunch of other talented artists that are seeing large investor interest. And I'm seeing some giant interest. Even corporations are now saying, we want to build an NFT collection.
Wow. Okay.
Bro, wow, I'm tripping right now. Hold on. Okay, hold on. Because I just had this crazy thought. Do you know the painter that we have in our community? I'm not going to publicly say it, but we have this lady in our community, bro, and she found a way somehow. Hope maybe she's even listening to this. If you are, shout out to you. You know who you are. She found a way to capture it frozen in time paint particles. Like, I don't even know how to explain what she did. She's the first person to ever like do this, bro, and she's huge. Like some of her paintings, she had like a Bugatti conference the other day, bro. Yeah, like I'm pretty sure she was able to like paint a Bugatti and like paint this paint splash on the Bugatti. And that's who's in our community. And I wonder if she knows about turning her artwork into NFTs. We should talk to her. We should try to get her on a call. Maybe she's very private, but I'll at least be able to get her on a call with just you and I. Maybe it won't be live because she doesn't like to be in the public eye, but just the three of us, I would love to introduce you to her.
Yeah, bro, I'm down because these NFTs, I'm excited. I mean, you hear this man talking about it. You got hedge fund guys starting NFT collections, and like NFTs are the future of art. You know what I mean? So let me just finish it. It's like it's almost done here. So let me just finish it here.
Down Web3, and they understand important things because corporations built huge art collections over the years. The big banks, they've got huge art collections.
Yeah. So did you hear that? Big corporations and banks have huge art collections now, right now. So let me finish.
So I think that's all going to come, and you're going to front run the institutions all over again. It's a harder.
Oh, so he just said buying NFTs are front running the institutions. Yep, that's what he said.
The space to understand because you need to figure out, okay, what is the art? But the easiest way is if you can afford a punk, buy a punk. Rule number one.
Okay.
It's like Bitcoin punk, right? Simple as that. After that, where do you want to go? You probably want to go to X copy. And he has a whole structure of the one of ones that are millions of dollars down to things that are $1,000. So he's got a whole structure that allow you to get into his ecosystem. And that's a great one as well.
Yeah. So that's he said it, you know what I mean? Not me. $1 million worth NFTs right now.
So because we're going on almost 2 hours now. So, we're going to start to wind it down. I have this one last video clip to play for you guys, at least on my end. We absolutely killed it today. Really great Friday call. Thank you all for tapping in with us. We have 1,700 people on the call. So we love that you all come out with us on Fridays. Keep in mind, we're going to try to continuously do this every Friday for you guys. Just host a call going over all the information that we can't even say all, but some of the information that we pay attention to throughout the entirety of the week, just showing you all some of the ongoing happenings in the digital transformation that we are all living through and participating in. So if you all have enjoyed this call so far and you're watching this as a recording, I'm going to be chopping this up in 3 different parts, I think, as of right now. So just make sure you guys go back, watch the previous parts. If you, clicked on this video first, definitely fill yourself in. Me and Aqua started talking about the Bank of International Settlements, where we were showing how there's documented proof from this year that somehow ties into Ripple and XRP, XLM with gematria and whatnot. And then we kind of went down the rabbit hole showing you guys physical proof that institutions are tapping into DeFi, and then just a whole bunch of different rabbit holes, but all documented evidence that this is happening. And so to wrap all of this up, now we're going to get into this. This is from the DC Blockchain Summit 2025, titled Digital Liberty, Expanding Global Access to Digital Assets and DeFi. And so we've had this view here in the CYPRX community that has kept us alive the past 5 years that we've been around, thriving. I'm talking about always being 10 steps ahead of what the normal retail crowd is doing through our institutional algorithms and our programs and our insights that we have for our technical analysis that we give to the community, and then our global research team that finds these things that we're showing you, documents, panels that all come out that we see before the average retail crowd sees. Like, look at this video. This video has 16 views, was posted a day ago. If you go look at the trending video right now, you just type in XRP, it's going to be some outrageous price prediction, some stupid that's just distracting. This is the stuff that matters, right? And you can clearly see that because nobody watches it. So this is a video of Donald Trump Jr. and his team, World Liberty Finance, and talking about exactly what myself and Aqua are trying to get you all to see, that DeFi, regardless if you believe it or not, is going to be integrated into the back-end infrastructure for everyday average people with normal salaries, with small amounts of money, with normal lives, are all about to be able to utilize these DeFi primitives that we are learning about and utilizing in the Wealth 28 Club right now. Like, already, this is already available. This is not some scam. This is not some, oh, it's not happening. No, this is happening, and it's only going to continue to scale. And you have to make a decision whether or not to further your education or not. You don't have to risk your money to learn about this stuff, ladies and gentlemen. Like, you don't have to take your digital assets and put them in the DeFi to learn what an AMM is, to learn what a liquidity pool is, to learn what liquid staking is. You don't at all. You just have to literally read and pay attention to find details. And so I have 3 video clips that I'm going to play. The first one Donald Trump Jr. goes on to say why he got into crypto. He talks about how he sat at the top of the banking totem pole, the pyramid, and he pretty much says it's all a scam. It's all a Ponzi. It's all a scheme. Okay. And he realized that DeFi, blockchain, digital assets is the answer to all of this. And we've been advocates of telling people that this is the part of the level playing field that we are now able to utilize, where we are going to have the same access to some degree that institutions have access to. Obviously, of course, they're always going to have the upper hand. But prior to, let's say, 5 years ago, we were not able to earn 17 to 20% on anything, pretty much from the retail side of things, unless you had a substantial amount of money. Well, now anybody with a mobile phone and an internet connection in any part of the world can connect to this new system and start to earn on not only their dollars, but on their digital assets and their currencies and their jurisdictions, and earn yield, earn rewards, pay themselves through their paychecks, through their everyday income, because it's all going to be on this system that is 24/7, 365. And this is huge. This is not, oh, should I learn about DeFi? This is, if you do not learn about DeFi, you're missing out on such a huge part of this transformation.
And I believe that we will all eventually, and probably very much sooner than a lot of people understand or think, we will be all at a level playing field, because that's the only way it's fair.
Okay, so just listen to not me confirming this, but Donald Trump Jr.'s team confirming this, and Donald Trump Jr. himself. Keep in mind, his dad is the president right now, and he's the one sitting here at a crypto conference telling you guys that the old banking system is a scam. This is not coming from some influencer that's making a video to get likes. This is serious. Like, he is physically confirming that this transformation is taking place. So just listen. And if you don't, I have a firm belief that the people that don't and brush this off and ignore it are going to be 20,000 steps behind the people that don't ignore it and choose to implement it and learn about it now. So pay attention.
Why come into the cryptocurrency space? Why come in the blockchain industry? What about our industry philosophically was appealing to you, and what problems do you want to solve?
Listen, I think for me, it was really interesting, right? I came from a hard asset family. That's what we did. We built and, sold and held real estate forever. And for a long period of time, I had access to everyone in the world. I could pick up and, the phone and speak to any banker and get a loan almost instantly. And, everything was sort of easy. And then all of a sudden we got into politics and we made our opinions known, and you put that little R next to your name. And all of a sudden that became really difficult. And I sort of realized very quickly just how much discrimination there is in the ordinary financial markets. Beyond the inefficiency, beyond the waste, the amount of bankers I know that make, 7 figures a year, basically moving a piece of paper from one side of a desk to another, not really adding any value. It was such a rude awakening to just how discriminatory the entire market is, just how inefficient it was. And, as I started learning more about, crypto, blockchain, everything, you realize, wait a minute, this is the answer to all of this stuff. So I guess I jokingly said, I got myself in a little trouble. I jokingly said the first time I was asked this sort of question was like, I realized I was just at the top of the pyramid scheme. I didn't realize that. I realized that the entire, financial system and the entire banking world was really one big Ponzi scheme. I just had the benefit of being, in the upper echelon of that. And once I was at the bottom rung, and we're getting debanked and canceled for, simply having opinions that didn't go along with the.
Okay, I just want to unpack that, bro. Like, do you all hear what the frick he just said? Because this is exactly what we've been talking about in the Wealth 28 Club for over a year now, people. For over a year now, we've been telling people we've had this awakening. Okay, go back to what one of our followers said, right? Remember, we shared this at the beginning. Finally put my big boy pants on and started staking my assets and learning more about DeFi. Shake my head. I missed 7 years of free money. And we mentioned how this person had an awakening that moving forward for the next 5 years till we get to 2030, why would you not want to generate yield on the digital assets that you plan on holding anyways, people? Come on now. It makes no sense for people not to all have this awakening, right? And so you just heard this gentleman here, who is the president's son, who has to abide by what he says on the internet. Like, he can't just go out and be like literally say whatever he wants, because it'll affect his political status. And he just said at a conference that was posted from a video 1 day ago that he had an awakening. And look at the notes I wrote. He said blockchain is the answer, that the old banking system is all one big Ponzi scheme. That is not coming from a freaking Twitter influencer, y'all.
Yeah, that's facts, bro. This is massive. That clip needs to go viral. Just that clip needs to go viral on X, man. Real talk.
Bro, 10 years ago, if you made a video like this, it got banned.
Yeah,
If you
100%.
This is crazy. You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, you're right. You should make a clip out
Put
of
that
that.
clip on TikTok and your shit will be banned. They'll literally cancel your account. You won't have no account no more if you post shit on TikTok right now, guaranteed. like
the fact that the president's son has a video right now on YouTube, ladies and gentlemen, admitting that he was a part of the banking Ponzi scheme and openly saying that blockchain is going to solve it all, only has 16 views, proves my point that this information is suppressed. This is huge. This should be all over freaking Fox News. This should be all over freaking CNN. This is crazy.
Yeah. Had he talked about something else, like, I won't even use any examples, but, they would drag his name through the mud and it'd go viral. But the fact that he said what he said is another reason why it's probably not getting put into the algorithm, and it only has 16 views. You know what I mean? So
here's a gentleman from his team, and his name escapes me, but he goes on to talk about, to wrap this up and play the last two videos, he goes on to talk about what I mentioned, that this is just going to be the normal for the everyday average person. And it's not going to be a lot, but it's going to be more than what they're earning now. If someone that is making $4,000 a month and is living paycheck to paycheck because all of their bills equate to that $4,000 a month, but then they can put that $4,000 that they're earning per month that are for all their bills into DeFi, and at the end of the month they have $4,000 but plus an extra 500, then they're not going to be living paycheck to paycheck anymore, and they can start to dig themselves out of their hole, the debt that they're in, because they can't pay their debt off. So they just take more credit. And the credit system that these elites have built for us to do that, because they made it so expensive for every people. You guys see the rabbit hole I'm going down? I know people that are mentally tapped in or know what I'm talking about, right?
You're cooking right now.
Yo, it's all designed to keep you in a system. In DeFi, that's why they're afraid of it, because it unlocks the power of the everyday average person in terms of finances to gain that upper echelon, or to, again, at least play on the level playing field that the institutions have been playing the whole freaking time. And Donald Trump Jr. just told y'all it's a scam. That's not me.
Facts. Yeah, no, that's Donald Trump Jr. 100%. And you make a great point as far as like the credit cards. And I mean, that's why I'm saying, like, everybody that's in crypto, especially like if you hold these, these DeFi assets, which is pretty much a majority of them, you should never, ever get a credit card going forward. You need to learn DeFi so that you can be your own bank, borrow against your own assets without paying APR to the bank, or tokenizing your crib, AKA your house, your real estate. When you tokenize it, you can tap into the liquidity, basically bypassing the bank. You don't need to go to the bank and say, hey, I need to take a loan out, run my credit, let me send you all these documents, and then you tell me what you're going to charge me on my equity, letting me borrow my own equity. You're going to charge me an interest rate on that, right? That's why it's such a scam. When you tokenize, and once more people start understanding how to tokenize their property, the best platform I recommend looking into is Lofty, tokenizing your crib there. I mean, you get to sell your tokens into the marketplace whenever you want, so you can tap into the liquidity whenever you want. So, like, there's just so much that DeFi is doing for us that you guys really have to wake up to. It's not just cold storaging your wallet. That's part of being your own bank, but like, there's a slew of other things that the bank does that you can do also in DeFi if you just start applying yourself and learning this information. And, this whole live we've been cooking that, like, DeFi is the heartbeat of crypto, guys. Like, everybody on this live, you have to face it. DeFi is the heartbeat of crypto. So
since you're on that topic, a lot of people, at least that I see, think that DeFi is a scam. Well, I, again, want you all to hear from a perspective from these people, World Liberty Finance and Donald Trump Jr. himself, say that it's actually not. So just listen, right? This is not coming from me telling you guys it's not a scam. This is just them confirming like, hey, people need to wake up and they need to have this like, okay, 2022, right? DeFi was a scam. 2023, maybe a little scammy, but now a year later, 2024 was a really good transition year. And 2025, we've only continued to see maturation. And we have to understand that these regulations and the banks and the infrastructure, it's obviously, of course, lagging in terms of the technology to the financial regulation status of it, but it's moving. And you have to understand that what happened in 2022, that's behind us. If you still have that fearful mindset, that's just going to get you wrecked and you're going to become a laggard and you're not going to be able to pay attention to the shift in the tide because it's not waiting for what happened in 2022. It's already progressed. Banks have put that behind them. People have put that behind them a certain degree. Most have not. So if you tap in, they're telling us that it's not like, listen, this is not something you would have heard 2 years ago. Just listen to what he says.
As you kind of look to the future in the next 5 and 10 years, 15 years, what problems do you hope World Liberty can solve? Do you imagine like a merger of multiple worlds, like hard assets coming in and creating liquidity for real estate? Or do you really want to push the consumer adoption? Kind of take it where you want.
Yeah, listen, I think general utility. I mean, I think everyone sort of just touched on it right now. When you talk about holding, treasuries, you see sort of the attack on what was always sort of the petrodollar over the last few months. This is really the stability that America needs. But as the Zacks, to perhaps use the office space, an analogy, as the Zacks and Chase would say, the amount of times in the last 2 years that we've been talking, and I'm trying to figure out, how to make something that should otherwise be simple, but perhaps isn't if you haven't been in the space for 10 years. It's sort of a name. So creating that utility, that ease of use that, perhaps a average, almost boomer like myself can figure out. I mean, that's my goal. I mean, I think obviously you can play big, on the real estate and the hard asset side and change up the banking system, but the utility, making it easy for everyone else to understand. It's not mystical. It's not sort of the meme coin space that my son plays in all the time. And, frankly, is probably one of the greatest tools I can think of today to teach young people entrepreneurship, to get them to understand how these systems work. It's so much faster. There's so much more excitement. Once they're vested and staked in that a little bit, they're actually paying attention. And I'm looking at these kids that are my son's age. They're 15, 16, 17 years old. They could run circles talking about liquidity with my buddies that graduated from Wharton with me who've worked at Goldman for 25 years. It's truly spectacular. But I think number one would be utility. If we can figure out how to make it easy to use, this is a no-brainer. And I think we're there. We're on that cusp. We just have to demystify some of that. We have to make it so that people don't just assume that you're gambling when you do this. These are real assets backed by U.S. Treasuries. It's just as safe as a bank account, but without all of that extra nonsense, without that inefficiency, without the.
Donald Trump Jr. just said that they're building this all out in such a way to be as safe as a bank account. Y'all, come on now. What do you mean this is a scam? This ain't no scam. Y'all pay attention. Go ahead.
I think we could have if we ever sat down with Donald Trump Jr. right here and just started talking all the stuff we know in DeFi, I think we could definitely keep up with that same conversation that he was talking about his 13-year-old son or something like that. So yeah.
I'm gonna be honest with you, bro. Like, he hit it on the head. Like, this is such a faster way to teach people is by participating in this space. And he kind of confirmed that his son's playing around with meme coins, which is just crazy that he openly said that, because I mean, he literally just confirmed that they're involving themselves in crypto. That's crazy. That is open confirmation that this is not something that they're worried about in terms of regulation. Because if he was worried about, the legality of crypto, he would probably tell his son, hey, don't dabble in it. We're not allowed to. Right?
Facts.
Am I just making sense? I'm making it make sense. Y'all see, I'm not speculating here. I'm making it make sense. And logically, what he just said confirms that in his personal sphere, he knows he doesn't have to tell his son, hey, don't be trading meme coins. No, instead, he actually embraces it. He's like, dang, that's cool that my 15-year-old son knows terms like liquidity and stuff, and it's just helping him learn this new system. This is great. What the?
Yeah. Yeah, bro. This is absolutely massive, bro. This is and you know the way I think of it too, because like you're saying, like this guy's not gonna get up here and just tell us and like tell us stuff. You know what I mean? Like he's carefully saying what he's able to say, because just looking back at the beginning of the year, I forget who it was. It was somebody from the XRP community that went to Washington when they did the Donald Trump inauguration when he came back into the White House. And one of these guys that are on X, I forget his name, forgive me, but he pulled up on Donald Trump Jr. and was like asking him questions about XRP, and like he didn't even answer them like at all. As a matter of fact, I think he like detoured the question and like responded like differently. So like that's like even more proof and evidence that like these guys watch what they say. You know what I mean? So the fact that he's telling that his son is involved in meme coins, like, come on now.
Yeah, bro. I think everything we've shared on today's call we've absolutely cooked. I mean, we're going to continue to cook for you guys. Sorry, I freaking swallowed my water, so I've had like a coughing attack the past 15 minutes.
Oh shit.
So I'm going to end it here with this last video of the gentleman from Donald Trump. Or I don't know how Donald Trump Jr. just off the top, I don't want to sound ignorant, is endorsing World Liberty Finance, if it's his project or if he's involved in it. Off the top of my head, I don't know, so I don't want to sound ignorant. But regardless, I know that they work together to some degree. I can at least say that. And this is a gentleman from World Liberty Finance, and he says exactly what we've been talking about, how this is just going to become the new normal, right? It's going to become the new next thing because it's going to be easy for everyday average people to do it. This is not something in crypto that's going to go away. This is actually what's going to onboard the next billion users and make it interesting to people that aren't speculators, because not everybody, wants to get involved in crypto because XRP is going to go to $10,000, because some people don't really have enough money, or even if XRP went to $10,000, it wouldn't really bring them life-changing wealth because they were only ever to afford 2 XRP to begin with, right? And DeFi changes all of that. It opens the door for everyday average people that own very small amounts of money, whether they live in Africa or the United States or freaking Canada or wherever. And it turns idle digital assets and income that they're earning into active assets and active yield generation and consistent looping and automation and compounding. And it takes someone that's earning small amounts of money into making them more comfortable with their life and being able to survive and being able to pay for things, because their money's always doing something instead of it being killed by the banking system where they literally just depreciate our fiat currency year after year after year. This combats against that, right? So just listen to what he says.
Than most. We believe that most people aren't speculators. They're actually consumers. Crazy thought process, right? And most of them just would like a better product to consume with. So like the average everyday American just in America is being held by their bank account that's being, maybe Gusto sends it in or a payroll company sends it in. They're being held living paycheck to paycheck with no reward and kind of stuck in that system, right? And the idea is if you trim back all that fat, there's actually some robust rewards that end user could be given with doing nothing else different than what they're already doing, consuming their everyday life. So maybe they make $4,000 a month, and at the end of the year or at the end of the month, they got an extra $26. That literally changes the nature and how people can move about. And we think that because there's so many brilliant people in the space, that port was kind of overlooked, right? Where, we had kind of taken a wall down, we had put a bridge up. And so for us, we plan on, using, paymasters and relays to make it so that you don't have to have these seed phrase and these codes, and make it much more like a better version of your bank account, something everybody uses, they know how to use, they understand its safety, its security, and its use case. We just plan to build something that's a little bit better, a little bit freer, and a little bit more impactful for the end user by trimming the fat. And so I think by taking that avenue, we realize that everybody deserves to be here, because you can't have great companies without understanding what the bad companies are too, right? You need to be able to see that deflection to be like, oh, okay, that's not what to do. This is the better idea. And so I'm truly, the goal as my personal self sits here, and I know my partners can stand to this, and the Trump say it so eloquently, is like, we're trying to bring the hospitality back to cryptocurrency. Right. It's time that we all get along and we move this forward, because I'll close this last one thing on the stablecoin. Cryptocurrencies, stablecoins are one of the largest buyers of US debt in the world. Okay, you want
Tether is the 7th largest holder, a private holder of U.S. Treasury.
exactly, and when you actually
I
think
think it was
about
the
that,
7th largest total, including governments.
Oh, really?
yeah,
I
they're
don't
doing
think
very
private-
well
I
this
think-
year, especially.
Yeah.
And I just think if crypto wants this massive power, it's understanding the playing field. And like the reason that we have these deals with other countries is
What did he say? What did he freaking say? It's understanding the playing field.
if crypto wants this massive power, it's understanding the playing field.
Probably very much sooner than a lot of people understand or think, we will be all at a level playing field.
What have I been saying to you all? This levels that playing field. Okay. This is crazy proof what I'm showing you guys right now, what he's saying.
Because they hold our debt. There's a lot of power in that dichotomy, and we plan to bifurcate it into everybody's hands, because not only are you protecting this sovereign land and making sure that the dollar is the settlement layer for another 50 years, at the same time, you're giving these people this like unchained banking apparatus that allows them to have their dollars that maybe are earning 4%, 5%, 6% right in their account, where they can pay directly at any source of consumerism. So they're dialed. And so like I just think that we looked past the most simple idea, and that is, how do you get a consumer to consume with a better product?
Yeah.
Go ahead, bro. Drops the mic. He just dropped the mic.
Yeah, it sounds like he's participating in DeFi himself right now. I mean, he explained it perfectly. As far as earning yield up at the point of purchase, you can do that on a couple different platforms that we've shared on the past on this podcast. So like, yeah, this is more cherries on top that DeFi is here to stay, and you need to learn this playing field, period.
No, I mean, and the crazy part is they are, participating at an institutional level. So it's not like their average client right now is just some retail-based user. Even though they're trying to reach the retail, you can probably assume that these people are sitting in with regulators and probably even people from the White House, because it's literally the Trump. He literally mentioned the Trumps, like this is them, this is happening. So, while we have almost 2,000 people on the call, guys and gals, I cannot thank you enough for coming out. Really do appreciate it. I'm going to wrap up the call here. If you guys want to tap in and learn how we are utilizing our digital assets in the DeFi ecosystem to earn yield, head over to CYPRXtrading.com, tap into the Wealth 28 Club. We'd love to have you on the team. Every single week, we host 2 DeFi calls. Those are spaced for Discord private members, but Aqua, he uploads them to the Wealth 28 Club. So if you guys want to see those insights, you guys can always tap in. You have a constant reel of information, 1 weekly upload, plus you have an entire category of DeFi videos to learn about this ecosystem, to learn about what's going on. And we personally risk our own capital, test out these platforms, hop on these dexes, record all our mishaps, go over walkthroughs, everything that you could think of to just get you comfortable with the transformation that we are undergoing. Tap in with us for a month, cancel your subscription, right? If you don't want to keep it. At the end of the day, just learn this information. And if you don't want to take a mentorship route, you guys can always tap into the free resources. I'm always on YouTube. I'm always dropping gems on Twitter. So is Mr. Aqua, and he's also over on TikTok. So tap into the free stuff. But at the end of the day, just make sure that you all are paying attention to this information. We would love to have you on the team, but just be cognizant, be aware out there. If you enjoyed this, smash that thumbs up button and subscribe, especially if you're watching this as a recording. Aqua, bro, it's always a blessing to tap in with you guys. And yeah, if you have anything to say.
Yeah, much love, everybody. This was a fire, pod today. This was super fire. We dropped a lot of alpha today. Hey, and I just want to say real quick, because you weren't, because that's World Liberty Financial that was just on that last video, right? That was up there with Donald Trump Jr.
Yes.
Yeah, so it says here, a Trump business entity owns 60% of the World Liberty and is entitled to 75% of all revenue from the coin sales. Eric Trump and Donald Trump Jr. are actively involved in the management of the company. And then they rely on 3 partners, which were there on that platform: Zachary Folkman, Chase Harrow, and Zach Witkoff. So yeah, that's definitely, tied in, connected. So there it is. But yeah, much love, everybody.
Yeah, great call, man. Everybody, guys and gals, take it easy. We'll see you all next week.